and his dogmas are hateful and harmful.
Engaging in homosexual behavior results in a disproportionately high rate of measurable harms due to the lack of a true sexual counterpart to moderate the extremes and fill in the gaps of one's own sex. That these harms, high average numbers of sex partners and high rates of sexually transmitted diseases for homosexual males, and lower longevity of committed relationships and higher rates of mental health problems for homosexual females, are not attributable in the first instance to so-called societal homophobia, an idiot term in the same sense that incest phobia would be an idiot term, but rather to sex-based differences that are ratcheted up in a one-sex sexual union. Mandatory indoctrination of children into LGBTQ immorality has massively increased LGBTQ identification for Gen Zers by the Gallup poll latest estimate to 23%.
And the LGBT population of America seems to be roughly doubling every generation. According to a recent Gallup poll, less than 1% of Americans born before 1946, that's Joe Biden's generation, identify that way. 2.6% of boomers do, 4.2% of Gen X, 10.5% of millennials, and 20.8% of Gen Z, which means if we follow this trajectory, we will all be gay in 2054.
With this massive increase will come a significant increase in the measurable harms that I just mentioned. Young people who would otherwise never have engaged in homosexual or transgender behavior and not suffered any loss for refraining from it. McClellan, without any evidence, operates with a deterministic model for homosexual development, where the increases in LGBTQ identification and behavior arise solely from throwing off societal restraints, like, he alleges, left-handedness.
Yes, there was a similar increase in the rate of left-handedness several decades ago when it ceased to be as socially stigmatized as it once was. And then, when everybody was allowed to be what they were, it leveled off, which is the same thing that will happen with LGBTQIA identities.
Yes, left-handedness went from 3% in 1905 to 11% a half century later, and then leveled off where it remains today. However, it didn't double every generation for 5 generations, from 0.8% around 1940 to 23% now, in the span of 80 years, as has LGBTQ identification. It's ridiculous to suppose that societal promotion of LGBTQ ideology can never elicit homosexual and transgender development through brainwashing and skewed incremental choices brought about by cultural indoctrination from the earliest age.